Hello, everyone, and welcome to Franchise Focus. I'm your host, Lisa Linkowski. I am the founder of Milestone Franchising, and I'm a certified franchise consultant. I represent hundreds of concepts, and I'm a matchmaker for people that are interested in owning a franchise business, all at no cost. Franchise Focus is all about putting a spotlight on owners that are in the franchise industry. And today, via Zoom, I have with me Tim Fettig, who is a franchisee of two Verlo mattress factory stores out in the greater Sheboygan area. And welcome, Tim.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Well, thank you, Tim. We have not had anything in the sleep arena yet here on Franchise Focus, so I'm hoping to keep everyone awake and energized because, you know, we're looking at mattresses right behind you, and some are just going to want to curl up right in that image behind you. But I want to get started and talk about, you know, you have been involved with Verlo all the way since 1993, so quite a time ago. How did you get started with them?
Yeah, I started with Verlo in 1993 when I was in college, and pretty much it was my wife said, "You got to get a job," and I went to the Verlo mattress factory store in Grafton, Wisconsin, and they hired me to do deliveries and production and build mattresses, and then go and do warehouse work and cleaning bathrooms, and so I started out just real low level and learning the business really from the ground all the way up. And so that started in 1993, and I just kind of worked my way from being that guy to sales, and then from sales to store management, and then from store management to getting to own our own franchise in Manitowoc, Wisconsin, and then expanding into the greater Sheboygan area with our second store. So it's been a really awesome experience.
Yes, that is fantastic, and I do love the fact that you started up literally from from the bottom up and all the way into business ownership. It's a fantastic story, and you know, and you are a multiple unit owner where you've got your two locations. So you know, we know what mattresses are, Tim, right? And mattress companies spend an inordinate amount of money trying to gain our attention on it all the time. So we do know, we have an awareness of what a mattress factory store is. But tell me about the Verlo mattress concept, and you know, what's the unique differentiator, and what's their story and their mission?
Yes, everybody knows a mattress because we sleep on them every night. We're going to spend 3 of the next 10 years in bed on average. So everybody kind of knows that it's a mattress, and everybody looks at it like, well, it's a white box. It's a box, it's got some fabric on the outside, maybe something inside. And so that's kind of what everybody looks at with mattresses. And when you start building them, it's different. You look at, and the idea behind Verlo's concept is we are a true factory direct. It started in 1958 in Wheeling, Illinois, and the idea was two guys got together and they started building their own mattresses and selling them right out of their store. And that is extremely unique, and we've continued that concept today. So in Manitowoc, you can walk into our factory store and order a mattress, and we will literally build it. You can watch them build it right through a window, where we're actually doing the assembly of the mattress. And the part that's really unique about Verlo is we get to build it just for you. So if you want a bed that's a little firmer, a little softer, maybe has some additional foam layers or latex or gel, we can do that just for you. And then if you don't like the comfort of it, as long as you own it, we can re-stuff that mattress. We can rebuild it, make it firmer, make it softer. Let's say you go through a life change and you want to have that mattress adjusted for comfort. We can do that where no one else in the bedding industry that I'm aware of has that ability to do it. And that's one of the things that makes Verlo stand out.
Wow, that's excellent. And yes, there's a lot of competition out there in this space. And now, you know, we hear the commercials where you can get mattresses delivered to your house now. And, you know, it's all just become, right, in a box. You know, it's all just crazy, like how much something that we take for granted, that we all own, we all have one, and yet it still is ever changing, which I think is also smart. So this is a franchise, you're a franchisee, and you have these locations. What about, do you have to have gobs and gobs of inventory and a big giant warehouse? No, because you're custom making these. How does that work?
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. So for our store, we really have the building where we do the majority of our manufacturing is 7,000 square feet, including a 2,500 square foot showroom. So we get deliveries of raw materials come in the back door every other week about. We assemble all the beds, and then we put them back out that same door into our own trucks with our own crews, and they go out and we deliver them into customers' homes. And so the turnaround is very quick. My inventory levels are, well, I keep them higher now because of COVID and all the crazy, getting those types of things. That was a little bit higher now, but we don't have to have tons of warehouse space. In fact, I tell people that all the time. We eliminate the middleman. We don't have wholesalers. We don't have distributors. We don't have 22 salespeople. We've got a staff of 5 that we build everything, we sell everything, and we deliver everything. We take care of all the customer service with a staff of 5. So it's pretty impressive.
Wow. And one of the things when you and I talked is that struck me is location is key, and location's critical for something that's a storefront. And your story about how and why you chose your location, can you share that with the audience?
Yeah, I'm like a proponent of being as close to interstates as you can be. And obviously, I think everyone knows that. But my Sheboygan location specifically is not in a normal retail location. In fact, when I first brought it to my franchisor, they thought I might have been a little crazy because it's just off the beaten path, but not. You can see us from the interstate. You're on a main thoroughfare, and it's right on the edge of manufacturing and retail's just a little bit north of us. So like we're a half a mile away from a Walmart and some other furniture stores. So location, finding that key location is just vitally important. Being somewhere where you can be visual and people can see you. I think the side of your building that people see your signage can be one of your biggest assets for advertising purposes anyway.
Absolutely. And you said that a lot of your competitors ended up moving closer to where you are as a result, correct?
Yeah, that's actually in our Manitowoc facility. We moved from in town. We were like kind of a downtown little place that had been there for a long time before we bought it and turned it into a Verlo. We moved right out to the interstate, and again, that was another one. That was back in 2000, and people thought I literally had lost my mind because I'm on a dead-end road. There's nothing around me. And then all of a sudden, one of the big furniture stores buys a lot, again, probably a half mile from us, and they built their furniture store there with their mattress store inside. And then we had 2 other competitors pop up, like all within less than a half a mile of our location. So, and it's built up around us. So part of it is just luck, right? Like choosing things and seeing things that maybe others might not look at or might look at and say, that doesn't make any sense. But then as it grows around you, now there's a movie theater. The dead end road has become a very busy dead end road because it goes to a movie theater and restaurants. And so it's part of it is just looking forward to see what may be or what may happen in the future. And then part of it's a gamble, I guess.
Yeah, listen,
that comes true.
It was a strategy. It was a calculated risk, but you won, and everyone then followed you, which is always a great thing when you're the one that's making that change. Although you don't know at the time, and you're like, oh, I hope everything turns out, but it did, so that's great. So Tim, let me ask you this: so you go from being an employee, salesperson. You become an owner of a franchise, and one of the key things about franchise ownership is that they do all the training for you. They teach you everything, but you already kind of knew it because you were already an employee. But it's still a difference when you're an employee and then you switch to becoming a business owner. What were the challenges that you faced from making that switch, and how difficult of a transition was that for you?
Well, because of my original bosses, they were very entrepreneurial in their way that they ran their stores. So they groomed employees to be able to be franchisees, right? So that was kind of the idea, is if we teach them many of the things they know while they're going along, they could easily take over their own store, or open their own store or grow. And so I was very fortunate to have the people who were my employers just really care about us and care about training us. I think the biggest shock to the system was, when you're an employee, there's many times you can just end it at the end of the day, even if you're dedicated. And I was a dedicated employee. At the end of the day, you're like, okay, I can go home and have a grill out with the kids and the family, right? When you're an owner, you get done at the end of the day and the revenue is either great or not great, or wherever it is, you're still thinking about it while you're at the barbecue with the family. So you don't turn it off, or at least I don't. Maybe some people do, but when you own it, and it's almost like another life that you're in charge of maintaining. It can for some people become too much, but I love it. I love that difference between being an employee, where I just walk away from it at the end of the day and tomorrow will be another day, to caring about it all night long. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. It's spoken like a true, business owner, and there is nothing different. And most people, they can't go back the other way. Like, it's just, if they had, if something happened and they were like, I have to go back to that, it would be such a difficult thing, because it is a different animal, and not everyone wants to know all the different aspects that are happening, and they don't want to live and breathe with it. They do want to just shut it off. And and that's what I tell my clients, that are trying to run from corporate America. I'm like, listen, you can't just shut this off like now. And yes, you could argue that corporate America is not getting shut off as much now because of technology, but you still get to shut it off. Whereas business ownership, no, like, this is it. You're all in, and you can't just kind of put your pinky toe in it. Like, you have to be completely in, for sure. So what do you think have been, for you, the biggest benefits of franchising? Aside from the fact that, it's giving you now this opportunity of business ownership that you probably never thought was going to happen in the beginning, when your wife said, you need to go get a job. But what have been those benefits for you, Tim?
Yeah, I would say the benefits to franchising, there's a handful. First is a system. Franchising that's one of the biggest benefits of systems when you're starting a business, and they sit down and they say, okay, here's a proven way of doing it. It's not the only way. It might be the best way, and it might not be the best way, but it's certainly a system that you can follow, an outline that you can follow, that helps lay out all the different tasks that you have to do to accomplish the goal of generating more revenue or running the business. So there's that, is having the system. The second is support, and I will say that right now our Verlo franchise has the best, and I've been doing this since 1993. We have the best team that I have ever experienced, kind of in charge and running what our Verlo Corporation, so my franchisor, is the best I've ever experienced. And I'm not just saying that to blow smoke. I've been on every committee. I've served as a member of everything from developing product to talking about marketing over my years, and these people really know what they're doing, and I'm very thankful for that, because it's just a blessing to not have to fight against everything to make something work, and they're really good at what they're doing. The second part about franchising that I really love is my fellow franchisees. There are some of them that are now lifelong friends, right? And they're smart people, and they're tenacious people, and so when you get feeling down, or you're discouraged, you've got a network of human beings that are in the same exact spot as you, maybe on a different scale or different level, but that you can reach out to, and they have understanding, and they can come alongside you and help you. So those are probably the three major things that I think the franchise system and owning a franchise, the benefit of it would be those three things.
And it is a tremendous help, because when you're just starting off as a business owner, it's very isolating and lonely. And if you tried to create, Tim's Mattress Factory, you couldn't go to your local competitor and ask for advice and say, hey, when this happened, how'd you handle it? You would be completely 100% alone, but yet you've got the other people that are in the system to talk to, and to your point, become friends, and not just friends, like lifelong people that are in your life, and that you have their back, and they know that you have you have theirs and they have yours, and that right there just gives such a comfort, especially when times get very difficult and you're struggling a bit, and then okay, well, it's not just me, and others are struggling, and we're all gonna rally, and we're gonna come together, and you're cheering on each other. Tim, this is such a great discussion, and we have so much more to unpack with our mattress reference there. But we're going to hear a word from our sponsors real quick, Zoom One Media and Advertising, so stay tuned.
Need a new mattress? Choose a Verlo mattress. Because hey, nobody ever slept better by paying thousands more for basically the same mattress. We dare you to compare Verlo to other leading brands. At Verlo Mattress, you get more bed for a lot less. So how do we do it? We handcraft your mattress and cut out the middleman so we can pass the savings on to you. Wake up, sleep better, and save at Verlo. Needed.
Welcome back to Franchise Focus. I'm your host, Lisa Linkowski, and in via Zoom with me is Tim Fettig, who is the owner of not one, but two Verlo Mattress Factory stores out in the greater Sheboygan area in Wisconsin. And Tim, we right before the commercial, you had so many great things to say about the benefits of franchising. And sometimes I feel like people are like, oh, he drank the Kool-Aid, listen to this guy going on and on and on about it. But it is the truth that when you embrace what this is and you embrace what this system has to offer, it can be extremely beneficial, and you're a flourishing business owner. So I want to talk, because multi-unit ownership is something that is the name of the game in franchising. So if you're looking to buy just one unit, that doesn't necessarily make a business. You might be replacing a job, but it's not creating a business, an empire, so to speak, where you're sitting here with this real scalable business. And so you have two units that are 30 minutes away. We mentioned about the two locations. And what I want to know is, this far down in your day-to-day of what you're doing, because everyone right now talks about passive income, right? Yeah. It doesn't happen though overnight. And so I want to hear, what are your daily functions, and how long did it take for you to get to that point where this was not an all day, every day affair for you?
Yeah, so we jokingly call my time is separated between all the different stores. And so we jokingly call it Tim time. I think it's really important to spend time with every one of my staff members. I try to do it every single week. We get into the stores, spend time with salespeople. We'll talk about goals. Obviously, we talk about revenue and customers. Who did we see? Who did we like? Who, made us want to not talk to people anymore ever. And so I like to spend that time because it's important. My staff is important. I can't do anything without the amazing people that work with me, right? So I love to spend time with them. So my weeks normally, I will spend time in each store, try to spend time with each employee, even the delivery staff, spending time with them, getting back, talk about production, talk about materials. And so most of my time is spent just popping in and out of different areas, different stores at different times. I do all of the financing and all the accounting. So in fact, my staff will tell you I'm a micromanager when it comes to those things. Inventory control. I have my main guy who does all my inventory, counts everything, orders all my raw materials. But he knows that I'm watching every minute. If I see a change, he knows because I text him. So that's kind of where I've gotten to, where I'm running the business. It's not just a job of being a salesperson selling mattresses, although I love doing that. Getting back on the floor and talking with customers is I love what we do because we change people's lives. The mattress industry, and Verlo specifically, the way that I can take someone's life and make it better is really important. So I still love being on the showroom floor and talking to customers. So it's not just always dollars and cents, but I remember hearing early on that we want to work on our business, not in our business. Now, being a small business owner and a franchisee, you're going to work in your business, but you've got to work on your business too. And so I've probably for the last 5 years, I would say that I don't have any scheduled sales hours or scheduled hours in any of the stores, but I want to be there as much as I can.
Right, and I do like what you said about, that working on the business instead of working, in the business. And yes, because when you're working in the business, and it doesn't mean that you're doing that 65 hours a week, but it means that you have a pulse of what's happening in the business, and you're not losing your edge where you still go and talk to the customers, and your staff gets to see that, and they get to see that this matters to you, and that you're not just some entity that once in a while comes in and and it's not important to you. No, this really matters to you, and that's going to set a great culture for your staff, and that's why you've got the type of businesses that you have. So congrats on that. You're a serial entrepreneur, and that you own other businesses that are not franchise businesses. You want to talk about that real quick?
Sure. And part of it, I want to tie this back into, yes, we own, my wife and I own multiple businesses now, and it has become, in fact, they make me promise that I'm not going to do anything in 2023 because I just keep doing more. So we own a sporting goods store. It's actually T&L Tactical Firearms and Range, if I'm allowed to say that. My wife and I own indoor shooting range. We sell sporting goods, firearms, accessories, those types of things. And then we also own real estate. We own storage unit business. So we branched out into a handful of different things. But what I have to say is, while I have a degree in business, being part of a franchise has given me that structure to follow. So remember how I had said it's so great because you can reach out to your fellow franchisees. Well, in these businesses, you're not reaching out to your fellow storage owner business guy and asking him what he's doing. You have to do that on your own. Well, because of that foundation of having the franchise system underneath me, I was able to build off of that and grow. So that really goes to the success that we're having in those other areas. I relate to the fact that we've been following the franchise system and not always bucking the system, but following the system, using the system. And I think that's helped us be successful in our other businesses as well.
And that's terrific because it's like I always say it's like a MBA, in business ownership, franchising, and then it gave you that courage and the foundation that you built with being a business owner to go and step out on your own, which happens very often, but it just made you a better business owner and stronger because of having all of that. And I always say that it's great to diversify your portfolio in business ownership, just like in the stock market, so when someone owns 65 of something in a quick service restaurant industry or in the fitness industry, I often go, why don't you do some other things as well? Because then you've got this diversification. You're learning about other different types of businesses, but it's also it's easier when you own the exact same thing and you can replicate that everywhere, because you know exactly what to expect, and that's the idea of franchising. That's the exact same thing. Have there been tremendous difficulties for you in the fact that, they are very different, storage, gun range, mattresses? Can't think of 3 different types of businesses, but do you look back at that and go, maybe I should have changed it, and maybe I should have just gone and invested in more Verlo mattress locations?
Many times people will ask me why I didn't. If I love Verlo so much, which I do, I bleed Verlo blue. They're like, well, why don't you open 10 more Verlo stores? Well, part of it is location. I can't go any further south because the Milwaukee market is there. I can't go any further north because the Green Bay market is there. I can't go any further east because there's a lake there. And I can't go any further west because there's another lake there. And then on the other side of that lake is another franchise. So I really don't have anywhere else to go with Verlo. And because that time with my staff is so important, I didn't want to jump to another market, right? So like a Minnesota market. That would be too far away for me to be able to do what I think is important with taking care of staff, right? So that's the reason that and I had that desire to open more stores, not because it's exciting to me. I enjoy doing it. I like the feeling of seeing people's lives improve and get better. And people are like, well, I understand the mattress making people's lives better. How do guns make people's lives better? Well, for us, it's not about selling firearms. It's about training. So much of what we do is about teaching and training. We have classes. So it's all about improving people's lives. We've had ladies come in that have restraining orders and are scared to death, like deathly afraid, and we can train them so they feel confident in their skills and their ability to protect themselves, right?
Sure. And
with storage units, boy, I don't know what it is about us Americans. We love stuff, and so it does make people's lives better because they have somewhere that they can now put their boat, right? Or their four-wheeler when winter comes, or their snowmobiles in the summer. So I feel like I get to help people's lives there too. So part of it is all of these, while different and all varying, they all have a similar thread in my mind where I'm actually improving people's lives all the way along. And so that was kind of something that was important to me. And I do get teased a lot because it's like you have mattresses and you sell mattresses and your wife sells guns. That seems weird. Shouldn't that be changed around? And then storage units, they're like, well, that's the passive income everybody talks about. A little more work than you think, but it is good. So.
Excellent. Everything that you just said is terrific, and you've created your own mission, which is helping to make other people's lives better. And what a great thing to wake up to each and every day. And you were also bound. You were bound by territory that, geography-wise, that's why you were not able to sit there and expand. And, I literally just saw someone talk about, that the territory in their area wasn't available, but there was something available 4 hours away. And I posted back to him and I said, for all the things that you just said, you especially in the beginning when you're cultivating that business, it's so important. And then maybe later on, now it's a little bit easier, but 4 hours is a big difference. That's a big, if something goes wrong and having to get there, that's going to be a big difficulty, no matter, unless you've got a private jet, right? Which, unfortunately most of us don't. So Tim, this has been a fabulous conversation, and I know that it's so worthwhile to our audience, for whoever's listening, for the fact of working your way up through a business and then becoming a business owner to then expanding, all of these things that we talked about, I think are incredibly beneficial. And I thank you so much for sharing your story with me and with the audience. So we're going to put your contact information up so that if people want to reach out and get a mattress from Tim, they can. And in the meantime, this Franchise Focus airs every Friday at 1:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'm your host, Lisa Lankowski. I am the owner of Milestone Franchising. You can learn more about me at my website at milestonefranchising.com. Thank you so much for watching.